Welcome to Beyond the Finish Line, the podcast for runners of every pace, every distance, and every goal. I am your co-host, Georgia. I am a four-time marathon runner. I am a social media enthusiast, I guess you could say, and I am joined by my amazing co-host, Coach Matt. He is a five-time Ironman. He's a business owner and, of course, a coach. He's a podcaster, so am I. Welcome to the episode. We are at episode 26. How are you, Matt?
Fantastic, Georgia. Feels weird to say we're at episode 26. We're starting to get up there now.
I know. I'm so proud of us. I love doing this. It's so good. They go so fast.
They really do. I was like, it only feels like the other day we're like, oh my god, we're going to get to 10. Like that was the big goal, and now we've nearly tripled it. So it's kind of cool. Like 26 is six months of podcasting.
Wow. That's pretty cool. We're halfway through the year, I guess is what that's halfway. So we've been recording for a while now. You and I have got to know each other quite well over the last 6 months of doing this podcast, but it's fun.
Do you feel like it? Do you know me? Do you feel like you see me differently since podcasting than before?
Yeah, definitely. I think you and I had a great friendship prior, just as coach and athlete, I guess. But, we would chat and it was more just always about my training and stuff. We never really talked about too much else. Maybe, our partners and whatever. But now we just talk about such a diverse range of topics all the time. We're in each other's ears, literally, and also on, our chats that we have together about the podcast and about the business and athletes and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I do feel like we've grown a lot in 6 months. I think
I agree. It's interesting to look back on it. Yeah, for sure.
I think if you probably, for those that are listening, I think if you popped back to the first couple of episodes, I think we'd all cringe in unison because everything was a little bit, I think awkward is the wrong word. We were both still getting to know each other on the mic, whereas, we were good mates off it, but it's so different when you're chatting through a microphone because you're very conscious of dead air and other things. And I mean, Matt loved to make me sit in the dead air a fair bit, but we're better at that.
Yeah, but I still stand by, if you are listening to someone and you're taking in information and you want to give them a thoughtful amount of feedback, taking a pause
totally
is okay. I still stand by that.
Oh, definitely. When you're having a conversation with someone, it is important to take a pause because, you need to gather your thoughts and make it flow and things like that. It was the moments where Matt would just sit there and stare at me and be like, I'm going to hold off from asking this question. And I would just slowly sink into my chair. But you don't do that anymore, which I'm very grateful for.
You've also got better at pausing yourself. Before you were just and you wouldn't stop talking. And now you're very comfortable going, let me think about that and then talking.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've also gotten used to not comparing myself to other podcasters that I listen to and thinking, they have full-scale productions and stuff like that, big teams of people who work on the podcasts, and it is you and I. So I'm very much used to now just going, okay, well, this is how we do things and this is our podcast and this is what our audience loves and that's all that matters.
Yeah, 100%. I do always find it funny that no matter how organised we try and be for the podcast, our first 10 to 15 minutes are always rogue.
They are always a little bit rogue, but I think if you're out on a long run, who doesn't love a bit of a rogue conversation to get things going?
Yeah, I think I think it's good. If it was just all scripted, it would be it wouldn't be us.
No, definitely not. What's been your highlight so far of the podcast?
Honestly, just seeing the traction.
Yeah.
I knew you and I always knew we had good conversation together and good banter, and we challenged each other in different things, and your strengths are some of my weaknesses and vice versa. But to actually, all of that sounds good on paper, but to actually see it come to life and see people resonate with it, which I just think that's the whole reason we do it, is because we give value to people and in our own unique way, and to see it actually pay off the way we thought it would is really cool.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say to see it pay off the way we thought it would. When we first started, Matt was always like, nah, we've got something amazing. We're going to be, absolutely awesome at this. This is going to be so good. And I was a bit like, I don't know, is anyone really going to listen to us? Mm. But you're right. Like seeing all the people, listening and seeing the listenership grow and seeing how many people download the episodes every week. And I think my favorite thing is definitely seeing you guys post our podcast next to your runs. Like to me, that is so cool. I love seeing absolutely. That. Yeah, and we reshare them on our stories and stuff. So I really encourage you guys to do that. I mean, it's so special to us because we're like, wow, out of all the podcasts you could listen to on your run, you chose us, and I think that is so cool.
Yeah,
that's definitely.
I think that's pretty special.
Yeah, definitely. And
I'd say the second thing is, and I know you probably got this before the podcast, but it's new for me. The amount of people who would reach out with messages, questions, just saying thank you for content and stuff. That was a very new experience for me with the podcast. So that's been really, really cool. That's a close second.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. I think it's different on here than it is in my own personal socials. I mean, I get questions every day, all day, every day, and I kind of just answer them as I go. I don't take them in or write them down or anything like that. But when we're curating an episode of questions for you to ask, live on the pod, I think it's so much more interesting to go, wow, look at all these questions that people have asked us and they want our opinion. And yeah, that is really cool. That's a good answer.
Yeah. So yeah, they're my two, I think.
They're your two. Yeah. I think we're both very similar. We both really enjoy that. And I really enjoyed having Lauren Nash on talking about dietitian stuff. And yeah, I think hopefully in the future we'll have a couple more guests, but it is nice that we get to get on here every week and chat to each other and have fun with you guys.
Yeah, it almost feels weird. Like we've only missed one episode in 6 months when you were overseas and we didn't have everything lined up. Yeah. But it almost feels weird now when we don't have the podcast. We record Monday afternoons. It feels weird if something comes up and we've got to record on a Tuesday or a Sunday or something. It feels like this just doesn't feel right. So it's becoming a real part of the just life, I guess, not even routine.
Yeah, I love a Monday afternoon. I come home from work at 2:00 or something, whatever it is, and I get home, I have something to eat, and I kind of just sit down in front of the camera and we chat. And I think you're right. It is becoming a bit of the routine in a good way. I look forward to a Monday afternoon because we get to talk, and it's an hour and a half, and then we're like, bye, talk to you soon.
Don't you think it's just speaking on the growth of the podcast from our perspective? I remember, and George sort of said at the start, I always thought if we can get it right, it would go really, really well. And George sort of questioned it. And then when we started recording, she was like, how are we going to talk for an hour? She's 40 minutes, we're in, out, done. No one wants to listen to us talk more. And now we can't get her off under an hour. So some of the episodes go for 90 minutes. So, yeah, I think it's cool just seeing all the different growth metrics personally and from the analytics side as well.
I know, and you're a data nerd, so you love looking at that stuff, and I'm slowly loving to look at that stuff. I'm always like, can you send me the stats, Matt? Because I don't get them. But
everything is trending up.
I think, do you know what? Down to the fact that I was a little bit unsure at the start. I think I was a bit nervous on whether or not I could do it. I knew you could. I knew you could chat on camera and stuff like that. But I was a bit like, oh God, how am I going to fill an hour? But honestly, it goes so quick. I'm like, oh my God, we're in an hour. I need to semi-wrap this up a little bit.
Yeah,
but
100%.
The longer episodes...
Go. You're right.
I was just going to say the longer episodes always do really well. Everyone's always like, oh, that was such a great episode. And they're an hour and a half because I think it fits perfectly into everyone's long runs.
Yeah, but I was going to say, I feel if you're engaged in conversation and you're not we've spoke about this before, the how often are you off your phone for 60, 90 minutes? It rarely happens. When you're actually engaged in conversation, that time just, it goes. All of you said, all of a sudden we're an hour in, hour 10 in, you're like, oh shit, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah, it is good. It's good. But we have a bit of a process now in what we do every episode. And one of those things, Matt, and this is coming, is we ask each other our highs and lows of the week. And I'm going to ask you yours. How's it been? What have you been up to this week?
Yeah, back to a little bit of somewhat structured training. I wouldn't say anything too hectic. Sort of like 12 hours. I think I trained 13 hours last week, which isn't an awful lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just sort of getting back into routine, sort of working out how, because I'm self-coaching now, which is like a big step forward for me, is, just sort of working out exactly how that's going to look and how hard I need to be on myself and how just working all that is going to be its own thing. So that's like sort of a high and low built into itself, is just working out this whole process. But back to some somewhat structured training, and yeah, that's it. No real lows, just pretty constant.
How are you splitting up your week now that you're not in a specific training program? Are you doing more running than swimming? Are you doing like bike, a perfect mix of everything? What's it look like?
Super heavy run at the moment. So currently training for 2 different ultra marathons.
Yes.
Yeah, so one's a team relay, which is just almost like last man standing, but it's 24 hours. So 7-kilometer loop every hour, or just tag the next teammate, and they just go continuous for 24 hours. And then a 50k ultra with some pretty gnarly elevation. So a lot of running and a lot of trail running, which is my favorite thing in the world. So that's fine. And then swimming twice a week, which is about half of what I normally do during Ironman block. And then bike probably 2 to 3 times per week, because you need to maintain that fitness for, like, I was just doing the math, like probably in a month I'm back into an Ironman block. So like all of a sudden that's here again. So I don't want to be starting from scratch. So yeah. So just a little bit of bike, a little bit of swim, a lot of run.
You always talk about the fact that you love trail running.
Mm.
How come you don't do more trail-based stuff? Why Ironman? Why not, COSI 100 or, UTA, or your sights set on like UTMB over in Europe? Is there a reason why you haven't gone full into that?
I will. I would say my main one is I am not good at Ironman yet, or triathlon, and that bothers me. Like, I have set goals in that sport that I want to achieve, and one of the great things about ADHD is like I am sort of can be scattered on certain stuff, and like if I don't care about it, I'm not interested. But if I am invested in it, like, good luck breaking my focus on it. So until I break this sub 10 goal, nothing else really matters in terms of sport. And then after I break 10, like, I want to go to Kona and I want to compete for an age group world championship. So like that is my main focus. I also think trail running, as much as I love it, and maybe this is my ADHD brain as well, doing one sport over and over and over again, I would probably lose focus. While I think triathlon gives me enough different stimulus to sort of keep me locked in. So there's a few different reasons, but I just want to achieve what I want to achieve in triathlon first before going to something else.
Yeah, I guess also trail running is a bit of like your happy place, and it's kind of when you start to introduce that as your job, it can remove that a little bit.
For sure. It's definitely something I am conscious of, like trail running. I very, very, very rarely even post trail running content, because it is just like my getaway from everything. Like, I deliberately run in places with no phone reception, all of that sort of stuff. So I am conscious that I do not want that to ever to lose that motivation for trail running.
Cool. Love it. Fair enough.
Yeah. Georgia, highs and lows, tell me.
Oh, a little bit like you. No real specific highs and lows. I've had a good week of training. There's 7 weeks to go until Sydney Marathon, so things are ramping up quite a lot. Monday, actually, I do have a high. I completely forgot about it. But I'll go through my week really quickly. Monday, I was on the bike just chilling because I'm trying to take off some of the load off my hip. Tuesday, I had a physio appointment, which was great. He was really happy. Just, I need to work on, my recovery. I think because I was so conscious of my hip, I was doing all the things to strengthen my hip and take care of my hip, but I was also then kind of neglecting the other parts of my body that I wasn't recovering properly. So just dealing with some hip flexor stuff, which is fine. Wednesday, which is a big high, I completely forgot about. It's just like, what day is it? I spoke on a panel for ASICS, which was really, really cool. Big, I guess, career highlight for me. They asked me a couple months ago now whether or not I could come and speak on community. They were hosting an event for the Keanu 32, the launch of that. So they had a big launch event and they had 3 different sets of panels. The first panel was with the first panel was with a physio talking all about, and the tech guy from ASICS talking all about the shoe. Second panel was with an Olympian and a Paralympian, which is so amazing, so interesting. And then I was on the third panel with a founder of a run club here in Sydney and a member of that run club, and we chatted all things community, whether that's online or in person. So yeah, I had an awesome time. I don't know, I've kind of fallen in love with a little bit of public speaking, which is really cool, and I think the podcast has really helped with that. I wasn't nervous. I was really stoked to be there, and I think because it's talking about something you absolutely love, it's very easy. The team all said I spoke really well, which is great. So yeah, that's a big high. Probably should have led with that, but anyway.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong high.
I think my weeks all blend together. I forget what I've said and what I haven't. So then Wednesday night I had to do my interval session on the treadmill, which sucked. It was not a very good session. Someone on my Strava was like, "Oh, did you set the treadmill properly?" And I was like, "Thanks." I think I just said to Matt, I was like, "Please ignore this. I got the kilometers in, but do not look at the stats." I was testing out the new Saucony Endorphin Pro 4s, and not a great time to do that on a treadmill. So I've learnt that lesson. And then Thursday gym, Friday tempo session, which I thought I nailed. I was really happy with that one. And then Sunday I had my long run, which was a bit chaotic. It was just one of those runs where you just know it's going to be chaotic from the start. Like, I forgot my heart rate monitor. I had to go back upstairs and grab that. And then, about 8 Ks in, I lapped my watch, which meant it jumped to the next part of the run. And it skipped 10 Ks of easy running. So I jumped straight into tempo pace, which was interesting. But I know, I was like, sorry, Matt. So how our programming works, that with Matt's coaching, it puts it all through your watch. So it's like blocks. And so the first bit's a warm up, and then it jumps to the next bit, and it tells you exactly what pace you should be running. And if you're under that pace, it'll beep at you and over and so on. And so it was 10 Ks easy, I think. And then it was 15 Ks at an easy pace, then 10 Ks at marathon pace. And I accidentally skipped straight to the marathon pace part, and you can't go back. Like, you can't just be like, "Whoop, jump back." Like, sorry, didn't mean that.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
a Garmin default. Like, surely Garmin can fix that.
Sometimes it comes up with this little like delete, as in like delete the lap, but it didn't give me that option. And then I was like, fuck. I was like, because I can't cope with the beeping. Like, the beeping sends me on a spiral. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to have to do this, and then I'm going to have to do my back end efforts, which is the 10K that I was in. And so I ended up doing 25 Ks at marathon pace with a 3K cool down or something at the end.
But at least you're going to be fit.
To be honest, I was so happy with myself. I felt really easy. I mean, my hip was a bit sore, but the marathon pace for 25K felt really easy, and my average pace ended up being 5:45 across the whole 30 kilometers. So I was stoked. It really gave me a good confidence boost.
Yeah, so it should. I saw you post it, and I was like, "Oh, that's surprising," because I hadn't looked at your data yet, and I was like, "Jesus, she must have been feeling good on the easy part," but now it makes more sense.
Yes, I left a comment on the run being like, "I'm so sorry, I lapped this. This is going to be so confusing for you." But I don't know. Is there? I guess with that run, it made me think: is there a way that I can do more longer marathon pace? Because that felt good. I was like, I feel really confident.
Yeah, like we're built, like I said, we've got probably like 3 or 4 really, really high quality weeks left where there's going to be a good whack of intensity.
Yeah.
So, like in terms of, we don't need to do these huge blocks like we did, say for Sydney last year, where we were doing like 3 by 10K, for example,
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
back end. Like we've taken a very, very different approach this year, and obviously it's already paying dividends. So
Yeah.
yeah, we've got a couple of. To be honest, I'm just sort of thinking off the top of my head, that might be like your second hardest run of the whole block, like including what's to come. If you did 25 kilometers straight at marathon pace, like it's a big run.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe when you jump into the data, you'll see my heart rate or something, but I don't think it was too bad considering running around the city is quite hilly.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's the course, so it's sort of.
Yeah, exactly. So I ran a lot of the course as I do every week, which is a big tip for those of you who are doing Sydney Marathon. I really recommend, if you do live in Sydney, try and run as much of the course as you can, down to the fact that like I now run my long runs in Centennial the correct direction. So I'm running anti-clockwise because that's how the course goes. I'm running down the botanical gardens on the correct side of the road that we run on race day. Things like that I think are really helpful. And so, yeah, I don't know, I just felt really good. So I'm glad to hear that that's good. But I don't know, let's see if the data actually shows that.
I think there's if you're doing a legit structured training block, not just sort of winging it, if you're on the right track, you'll just have these sessions where you're like, we talk about bricks in the wall. I talk about like, I guess they're bricks, but they're bricks you remember. Like you just like that one, that was the fucking one, And
Yeah.
if you get 2, 3, 4 of them throughout a block, you're like, I'm in a really, really good spot. It's like, I really look out for them in, when I'm doing my training for Ironman. So if I can, if you've got a couple of those sort of banked away, like it just, like I said, does so much for confidence. If you just think about the conversation we had last week, where
I
you're
was
like,
gonna say
what,
that.
I don't even know. And then you get that one good run, you're like, I fucking got this. Like, I know it.
Yeah.
So just keep stacking bricks, mate. They'll come.
Oh, totally. And I always talk about, that rule of thirds where you always have, a third of your training is crap, a third is okay, and then a third is really great. And that was just one of those sessions that was really great. And it really gave me confidence. And I know, I'm sure you saw this, Matt, but I know looking at our Garmin isn't a metric we should ever really go off, but it's a confidence thing. And for me, Nick and I were last night comparing our Garmin stats, as we always do, just for fun. And, we always go through like, oh, what's your 5K time prediction and all this stuff. And I just flicked to my marathon one and it was 17 minutes faster than it was a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's crazy. And I mean, it was sub 4. And I was like, oh my God, that's pretty good if I'm in that place now. I only got to that place probably a week before the marathon last year. And if I'm there 7 weeks out, I'm like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, like I know I always say to people, don't put stock in the Garmin stats. But
No.
if they are moving positively or negatively, like it's not based on nothing, right? Like
No,
there is a physiological measurement that Garmin measured, goes through their algorithm and says you are getting fitter. Whether you run a 3:59 or a 4:01 is kind of irrelevant. But if it's moved 17 minutes, there is something in Garmin's algorithm that goes, Giorgio's improved by, that's probably like 6%, give or take. Like it hasn't just made that up. So, while I don't put stock in it in terms of the actual numbers it puts out, if it has moved in a positive trajectory up and to the right, as we say, that is a good sign.
Yeah, and when you look at the graph, you can see it's almost a perfect downhill of how much fitter I'm getting. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. I love it. So, yeah, and I don't know, I just thought it was fun. It was confidence boost. So
100%.
Yeah. So we're feeling good. This is doing all the things that are ticking all the boxes, laying all the bricks before Sydney, feeling good. Everything's kind of falling into place.
And I think it's really important for people. Like, you go through these ebbs and flows during a training block where you feel like Georgia did last week, where you're like, oh my God, like I'm just so tired. I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't feel like I can hit the paces. And that's like your body going, I don't know if we can adapt to the training. And then
Yeah.
you come out and all of a sudden Georgia's like, oh my God, I feel amazing. So your body has absorbed the stress, gone, okay, this is the load that Georgia is putting through me right now. How do I adapt? How do I get stronger? The body recovers, body gets stronger, and then the body absorbs the training, and then you come out. And then you feel good. And then it's my job as a coach to go, okay, Georgia has absorbed that training. Let's ride that for a little bit, and then let's put more work into her. So more stress, more stimuli, adapts, grows again. So that's like, it's really important to have the down so you can have the up. You can't just all be trending up the whole time.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I think another thing that's quite important, especially, well, only for our female listeners, not doesn't really apply to the male listeners. Sorry, guys. Someone messaged me during last week after listening to the episode, and they were like, are you in your luteal phase? Which, I mean, I do not pay attention to. I'm the worst female ever. I don't even know what that means. I had to Google it. I was like, what does that even mean? And it turns out I was. So that made sense. I mean, which is part of your cycle that is generally what they say from what I read online. Again, I had to look this up. That said, when you feel your worst, especially when you're training for something, that's something you got to consider. And I didn't even realize. I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense why I felt like shit all of last week and why this week I feel fucking fantastic, which is good. So, I mean, another thing to consider as well for those female listeners.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things. Like it's something I check with a lot of my female clients too, especially if it's a consistent trend. Like, you can normally, I can normally spot it. Yeah, I'm just like, hey, can I ask about this without it being weird?
Nah, I think you would see like every, once every 4 weeks or whatever it is. You're like, oh yeah, another shit week. All right, let's prepare for it.
Yeah.
I think
Training Peaks actually has it, so you can track it.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
Yeah, like I've seen a few of the girls put it in, so I'm just like, okay, so it's obviously becoming more of a metric that people care about.
Definitely. I see so much more about it online. I think it's also becoming more common for women just to talk about, because they're like, well, stuff this. I'm talking about it because we all deal with it. Mm-hmm. But I would just pray to the gods that week doesn't land on marathon week. I might just not look at it.
You just gotta, like I said, like you're in charge of your own thing. Like, no, I know it's an internal factor, but like technically it's an external factor. Like, if you were locked in, like nothing matters.
Yeah, no, it won't matter.
Wake up sick, have 2 hours of sleep, none of it matters. Like, we're getting on that start line and we're doing the damn thing.
Amazing. All right, well, this episode we're going to go through some Q&A because this is your favorite kind of episode, guys, and we love bringing them to you. I love asking, doing a little question box and seeing all the responses. And so, as Matt said before, we both love seeing what you guys ask us, and it is
cool how diverse the range of questions is.
Yeah, every time we do one, it's so interesting how different they are. And so, I've put together a list of all of your questions. We're going to try and get through as many as we can this episode. If we have missed your question, we will definitely get to it. Don't worry. We always do questions at the end of the episodes. So let's kick things off with a question from Alex. It says, if I'm time poor, how important is a warm up and cool down? For example, in a speed session, is it okay to shorten it by 5 minutes?
I would say if you're doing speed or tempo sessions, your warm up and cool down is the most crucial. You cannot go from 0 to 100 and 100 to 0. If you are to shorten warm ups and cool downs, it's for your easy zone 2 stuff. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I watched the F1 movie last night, and I saw that they all have to warm up the tires. So, I mean, you got to warm up the tires, guys.
Yeah. It's like,
is that a good analogy? I feel like that's a good analogy.
It's not awful, yeah.
No.
You just have to warm. You can't go 0 to 100. Like,
no.
Just soft tissue injuries, like it's just, and you can't go 100 down to 0 because, again, your chances of cramp, chances of soft tissue injury, like it's just not worth it. And you also miss out on a lot of the cardiovascular benefit. So, and obviously that's the whole reason we do it. So if you're going to skip or shorten warm-up cool down, it is for your easy sessions.
Yes. And when they're saying warm up and cool down, are they referring to like if there's a 5 minute warm up or 10 minute warm up in the actual run, or the kind of dynamic stretching beforehand?
Either I like, but the both are correct. Like I
Okay.
wouldn't if for a speed or for a tempo session, anything that is above zone 2, I would never ever ever skip dynamic warm up in terms of like dynamic movement stretching, and then that
Yeah.
5, 10, 15 minutes of very very light jogging just to get the blood pumping. Like you just cannot skip it whatsoever. If you want to skip some static stretching at the end of running, sure. I'm not a massive believer in that, but
No.
the
Even my
5, 10.
physio said that.
Yeah, you're better off just doing that. Just if you're interested in mobility, just do it separately.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, for speed and tempo sessions, marathon specific sessions, half marathon specific sessions, whatever, do not skip warm ups and cool downs.
Sometimes I feel like, and I'm not saying this is what Alex does, I don't know Alex, but sometimes I feel like people don't like doing the warm up and cool down because it ruins their stats of how fast they were going.
Fuck off. If that is your reason, you deserve to pull a hammy. 100%.
Okay, well, that was definitely not aimed at you, Alex, but...
It wasn't named out, but if you deliberately do not warm up and cool down because you're worried about Strava, you should be out running for 6 to 8 weeks of a bad leg.
Okay, cool. I have a question here from Claudia. So it says here, this is a funny one. Controversial question for Coach Matt. If you had to do anything new on race day, what would it be?
So, if new listeners, I am so ridiculously particular about nothing new on race day. Like, I literally recorded a video before this for all my Sydney Marathon athletes about how we're getting into our routine, how Saturdays are now the day before the race, how we're practicing what we're going to eat, practicing what time we go to bed, what time we wake up, we're wearing the same clothes. Like, we are starting to develop that routine. So when race day comes around, nothing new on race day. We have done it over and over and over and over and over again. Even down to what we eat, drink, how long we're asleep, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
I actually saw this question before and I was trying to think of something and I can't think. Like, the only thing I could think of for me would be if I grabbed something from an aid station.
Yeah. Even then, risky.
Yeah, I know it's risky, but like I'm just thinking, like, if you got 30 kilometers into a marathon and you're like, I'm out of gels, like you've just got to grab it. You know what I mean? You've just got to grab a gel. And if you haven't tried that brand, you haven't tried that brand. But I couldn't think of anything like really particular, like that might have sort of. Obviously, she's asked this question for like some sort of controversial answer. She even put it in the question, but I couldn't think of. Do you know what? This is a great example because for those of you who didn't listen to my sub 10 hour Ironman recap, Georgia and I had to re-recorded it, and then the recording messed up, and we had to record it a second time. But in the first recording, I spoke about I changed my socks. I'd never worn performance socks. I never wore this particular brand of sock. I hate performance socks.
That in itself is controversial. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I think show me how much faster you run in performance socks. Find me one study because it doesn't exist. It's just fucking cotton on your foot, mate. Anyway, I got these socks and I was like, oh, I'll just wear them. And I had never worn them before. Wore them for the marathon in the Ironman. Got my first ever blister and lost my first ever toenail. So that's what happens when you do something new on race day.
I know, and Matt has really drummed this into even me. Like, I mean, we've been training together for 18 months now, and down to the fact that every Sunday I do my hair the same, like everything, guys. Every single thing. And people were like, oh, like loving the bubble braid on your long run. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm trying my hair out for the marathon because like I want to look cute, but I want it to be functional. Like if it's going to piss me off on my run, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah,
so
you got to test things. You've got to like girls with sports bras, like if it rubs in certain spots, the way it sits with your heart rate monitor, if you wear a heart rate monitor. Boys, if you wear like shorts with the compression underneath your running shorts, like certain ones of those, the seam rubs when you're sort of 30 Ks in. There's so many different things. Yep.
I've got a really good one, guys. This is a bit of TMI for you. Nothing hold back here. Practice your undies, gals, because
Boys do.
Seriously, it's a serious thing. I wore a different pair of undies and I have the worst butt chafe ever.
Yeah.
Holy crap, I can't walk today. I was like, my boss was like, what the heck? And I was like, I've got the worst butt chafe. So don't, like, honestly, down to that. Like, I know we joke about nothing new on race day, like no new socks, but seriously, girls, no new undies, because that was hell on earth.
Test it. Yeah, test everything. Like, you should not be sitting there the week before the marathon and be like, you know what am I going to wear? Or like, what am I going to eat? Like, all of my guys, as of this weekend, and we're 7 weekends out, they will, like, we are starting to refine that process. And most of my guys, we've already sort of worked it out, and like now it's just a real refinement. But everyone, at least a month out, it'll be almost perfect. So nothing new on race day, almost no matter what.
Yeah, and this is the time now, if you're 7 weeks out, and this maybe over the next couple of weeks you can trial a few different things just to make sure. Like yesterday, Nick tried honey for the first. He doesn't like honey. He was like, but I know it's really high in carbs, so he had honey before his run for the first time. Like now's the time to kind of quickly check that, and then you can rule it out pretty quickly. Like I tried a honey gel last week for the first time, made me so sick. I was like, never again. So this is the time before, you're getting too close and you need to have that down pat.
100%.
Cool. Done. Sorry about that, Claudia. No controversial answers there for you. Cool. Marianne has asked, recovery tips after running your first marathon. What should we expect once we finally cross that finish line?
Pain.
Yes.
My legs hurt.
Get Matt's favourite shoes, some OOFOS or some Crocs, and chuck those on your feet. Put them on. They help.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. Seriously. Look, my best thing I can say is you will be really, really sore. Like, think of the worst DOMs you've ever had after a really heavy leg day. That's what it feels like. Like, you cannot sit on the toilet.
Days.
Yeah, can't sit on the toilet. You can't go downstairs. But embrace it. Embrace the weird wobble. Wear your medal on the Monday, and everyone will understand. People are like, oh yeah, like go run the marathon.
Yeah. I mean, it's all relative to how much training you've done. So, like, if you've had a reasonably high training load, like, say, Georgia, for example, if we stay on this trajectory, I imagine she won't really be particularly sore come Monday. If it's like, obviously, the way you've structured this question is probably your first marathon or first couple. Just high quality sleep. As much as you can. You probably won't sleep well that first night. You'll have restless legs. High quality amount of protein, carbohydrates, fat. So like well balanced food. Hydrate as much as possible. You can do that through alcohol if you so choose, because you did just run a marathon. But yeah, just sleep. Sleep is the best medicine. If you can get not sponsored, the 2 times you compression pants. They're tights, yep, they're really, really good. I personally, like, that's what I wear after Ironman, and I'll just keep them on for like 2 days, honestly, and they get me pretty much right. Outside of that, a little bit of movement is just walking, keeping that blood moving. Like, blood is what helps heal muscles, etc. So it helps move that metabolic waste out of your legs up into your larger organs. So that'd be my big ones.
I think after my first marathon, I took the day off after. I don't do that anymore, but I took the day off after and I went down to the beach and got into the ocean pool because it's kind of winter, so it's really cold. So, like, not so much ice baths per se, because I don't know, whether everyone can access an ice bath, but I just jumped down to the beach and I just walked around in the pool. So I had the movement in my legs, but they were also nice and cold to help reduce any inflammation that I had. I was talking to my physio about this during the week. He was like, go to your classic, don't forget your classic, like rice, rest, ice, compression, elevation. That's really good. If you're doing Sydney Marathon, or most marathons actually have a really good recovery area. Yep. You can hang out there afterwards. If you can get a massage, get a massage. Yeah, like, don't feel like you have to just go home straight away. Like, you can just chill. for a bit, which is super helpful. But yeah, the next day, just take it easy. It is painful, but it's, nothing you can't handle.
Yeah.
Just run a marathon.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next one. Erin has asked, what do you mean by stiffening up your legs? I run on dirt roads. Is that enough?
Stiffen your legs is just kind of like I don't know, it's a bit of a slang term, I guess, for coaches. Like, all we're trying to do is strengthen legs, right? So, like, the more volume pounding work that we can put into legs, the stronger they get, the more durable they get. Like, it's just it is a term that encompasses many micro terms, if you will. So all we're trying to do is strengthen your legs. So yeah, running on dirt roads is fine. I would say if you have a marathon in mind, like getting out, like dirt roads hit different to concrete or tarmac or asphalt. So getting out onto concrete will really stiffen them up. However, if you don't, I'm just trying to think if you've only got access to dirt roads, running down hills hard, so like not shuffling, but like really letting your sort of feet like flat hit the ground and shaking those quads, that'll really help. And then sort of if you're running up hills, trying to drive that knee up as high as you can to sort of strengthen your posterior chain. But it's really just sort of a slang term that encompasses many things.
Yeah, so it's not so much about what kind of surface it is. It's just like getting your legs used to being really tired and sore. Because mid-marathon, they start to hurt.
Yeah, and like that's like for like all of my guys, they know we do a long run on a Sunday, and then all I ask them to do on a Monday is turn up and run for an hour. I don't care how fast they do it, how slow they do it, what their heart rate is. All they have to do is turn up and turn those legs over. And like that, just putting that work into them while they're tired is just making the muscle harder and harder and harder, and deals with that pounding more and more and more.
Yeah, and it's horrible on a Monday. Doing our Monday 1 hour is
Never
horrendous.
miss a Monday.
But we don't miss a Monday. We don't miss a Monday at all. I always do it. I don't miss it, but geez. Kiss me the shivers. Okay, cool. Moving on. Beck, how much water are you aiming to consume during the Sydney run? So I think she's referring to me here. How much water am I aiming to have? To be honest, I don't actually calculate it based on like I'm aiming to have a litre over the entire course. I think it's a bit hard to really work that out. Although on the weekend I ran with a small hand flask after I did my long run with Matt last week, and he had a little soft flask on him, and I was like, okay, we all had to stop for the water bubblers, and he just had it in his hand. So I think after London Marathon, where I really liked having that water bottle on me, that was helpful. So I ran with one on Sunday and I really liked it. So I think if I go off that, it's like a 200 ml little flask. So I could potentially look at getting a slightly bigger one and then doing that. But pretty much every aid station, I grab a cup of water or a cup of electrolytes and I have it there. But I don't know, Matt, is there a way to work that out?
Number one, it depends on how long you're going to be out there. So realistically, like if you're a sub 4 hour marathon runner, you probably don't need fluids. You get through it pretty comfortably without, as long as you'd like carb load and everything beforehand and sodium loaded. It might be a little bit uncomfortable in terms of being dry mouth and stuff, but like you don't need it. If you were to calculate it, you would want to calculate your sweat rate. So you get on a treadmill in like either a garage or like you can do it at like a lab or something, and weigh yourself, run for an hour, and then weigh yourself again. And then you know sort of how much the weight difference is, the amount of fluid you lose per hour. And you're sort of looking to replenish about 80% of that, give or take, for a shorter endurance event like a marathon. That's kind of a nerdy way to do it. The third option is just go based by feel. I noticed they specifically wrote water. I would encourage you not to drink water on a marathon. I would encourage you to try and get to electrolytes. When we think about the muscle, sodium is what helps the muscle contract and release. If we are depleted of sodium, the muscle will contract, which is a cramp, and it will not let go. So when you drink water, water dilutes salt. So if you just think about if you wanted to mix salt up in a glass of water, it would obviously become less and less salty. So I'm just thinking about this on the fly.
No, that's good. That's good. I could just see you be like, well, yeah, it just gets less salty.
Yeah, it just gets like the more water you add, the less salty it gets, which is essentially what happens to the salt in your blood. So I would encourage you to try and drink electrolytes so you are keeping adequate salt levels so you do not cramp and you're able to continue to move forward. Because once you start cramping, it gets pretty miserable pretty quickly. It's kind of you only really start cramping once you're super depleted. There's no like warning signs. So the chances of you going from full cramp to, okay, I'm at an aid station, I can drink enough electrolytes to, number one, get rid of the cramp, but then get ahead of my sodium needs is it's pretty tall order. You'd probably have to be at an aid station, just chug on electrolytes for 10 minutes. Yeah, but I hope that sort of answers your question. Is drink electrolytes, and you don't need to aim for a certain target. You could just sort of go based off feel. Like one every aid station is more than enough.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just aim for every aid station and just make sure you're checking the course map of whatever course you're doing. They always will state whether it's a water station or an electrolyte station. I know Sydney released that this week showing where they were on the course. So getting really familiar with that, knowing, okay, if I'm coming up to, say, Centennial Park, I know that's going to be an electrolyte one, and really prioritizing grabbing that cup, make sure you're getting the fluids in, whether that's, just after you've had a gel or something like that, but also practicing running, grabbing a cup, pouring the water in, using that little funnel like pinch method is really important. I see in the park quite a bit, I see paper cups, and I know that's people practicing that because you can't just get paper cups in the park. So that could be a thing. Like if you're out on a run, set up a little mini aid station, put some paper cups on it, grab the cup, run on. Does it work? Is it hard to do? Can I drink enough? Like that's all things you need to consider when you're out. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, because I think people come unstuck. They don't realize it is actually quite hard to grab a cup and drink out of it.
Nutrition's the fourth, in triathlon we call nutrition the fourth discipline, but I guess in running it would be the second discipline. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely, because it can be really tricky to do. I know there's been times where I've just had to go, you know what, I'm just going to have to walk for a couple of seconds to really drink this electrolyte in. I don't do that anymore, but I mean, that's another thing. You could walk the aid station if that's really important to you to get that fluids in. I know there's some people that really need water. Like that is like they've got to drink or they can't breathe properly, So another thing. Yeah. Any other tips, Matt?
No, I think that sort of covers it for that one.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to jump to, there's a question here from Emma that says, how do you run a marathon without a vest? I rely on mine and struggle at the aid stations. And so that's kind of, we've already answered that in terms of you could do what, Matt did last week and what I did on Sunday is carry a little water flask in your pocket. Even if that means you're stopping at an aid station to quickly pour the cup of water into the little hand flask, that could help you, or just wear your vest.
Yeah, I think that's an experience thing too. Like so many of my first-time marathon runners run in vests, do half marathon in vests, etc., and they pack everything but the kitchen sink. And
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, which is not like that's super normal. Like you try and explain to them, and they're just like, "No, I can't wrap my head around it." They do one, they do two, then all of a sudden they're like, "I didn't take anything." Like it'll just come with time and experience. So don't overthink that.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, if you fill your vest with all the things you're going to take on race day and then hold it, like that is heavy. They're so heavy. And I have friends that still run in vests because that's what they like and that's so fine. But yeah, it is tough work carrying a vest. So, maybe just try to hold the little hand flasks instead, or just, wear your vest. No one's judging you.
Yeah, there'll be heaps of people with vests on.
Yeah, definitely. I ran my first marathon with a vest on. I won't do it again, but that was just what I needed at the time. Like Matt said, it's just comfort thing, I think. Okay, cool. Alice has asked, I ran Gold Coast Marathon and missed my PB by 4 minutes. Congratulations, Alice. That's amazing. Is it realistic to try again in Sydney in 8 weeks' time?
You can go first. You can go first because you've gone through this.
Coming from experience, I mean, you can definitely, that's what I did. I went for a sub 4 last year at Gold Coast, and I know I've spoken about this. Well, come on, I did. I might not have told you that, but I did. I didn't train for it,
but
I
did.
ran.
You did not have a strategy for it. You just ran. But yeah, go for it.
So this is a touchy subject between Matt and I. I know I talk about this a lot, and I'm so sorry that I repeat myself, but it's just experience, so that's all I can talk about. Yeah, look, I did Gold Coast and then tried for my sub 4 at Sydney, and I will say it is a lot harder. I was exhausted. My body was really run down. Post Sydney, I really struggled to get back to some sort of normality. It was not that much time between races for me. I really found that it took me twice as long to recover. But I mean, I don't know. I would say if you feel like you've got it in you and you're not like wrecked from Gold Coast, sure. Matt?
Yeah, so I've got a real love-hate relationship with the way that our current running calendar is structured because I have a lot of athletes who do the double. And it's... Unless you are super strategic with it, and I've actually got a really, really good example is one of my athletes, Jordan. Shout out, Jordan. I don't think she listens to the podcast, but if you do, shout out, Jordan. She wanted to run sub 4 this year. Like, that was her primary goal. And she was Gold Coast and Sydney. They were her 2 marathons. And I was like, what we're going to do is focus on running Gold Coast as well as you can. Get that sub 4. And then Sydney, we just got to see how your body is. The realistic sort of time frame is about 8 weeks in between races. So chances of you getting back to like full high quality training within 2 weeks is like 50-50 depending on what your build up was. So let's just assume you miss out on 2 weeks of training and then you go back in. So now we've got 6 weeks. You got 10 days ish to taper for Sydney. So now we're down to 4 weeks. You need probably something like an absorption week where it's somewhat high volume, but like there's no real intensity in it. So we sort of strip that out. So you've actually only got 3 weeks of good training. And that's assuming everything went perfect to plan. You're feeling great. You're motivated. Sometimes coming off a marathon block, you're just like a little bit cooked. You've got to go, essentially run a marathon, 2 weeks of recovery or a week and a half of recovery, depending, back into running 30 plus or 60 plus K weeks, 30 plus K long runs. Big ask on the body, big ask on the mind. On paper, you can do it. It is all dependent on how you hold up mentally. Like, I'm a big proponent of, like, if you are, like, it's such a big ask to run 2 marathons hard. Like, running a marathon hard is one of the hardest endurance events on the planet. So trying to do 2 PBs in the course of 8 weeks is like a really, really big ask. I would say I'd be more inclined to enjoy Sydney and just run it feeling really, really good than trying to put all that pressure on yourself. But if you feel good and you think you got it in you, go for it. But I wouldn't, like, that back half of Sydney is going to be a real tough experience.
Yeah, it is tough. And from experience, I fully think the same thing as you, Matt. It's it's a lot. But I can understand it when you're desperate to get a goal and you're like, I just want to give it everything. So I can understand that as well. It can really
go one or two ways. Like we spoke about that absorption method earlier. Like, if you absorb that marathon from Gold Coast and you come out feeling pretty good, like, you can turn around another performance. On the other hand, if you haven't fully absorbed it and your body's just sort of like, oh, like, I'm still a bit cooked, the wheels can fall off really, really quick. You can go into Sydney feeling really good, run 20, 25 Ks, and all of a sudden it just all hits you, and then it is 10 Ks of walking. Like, that can happen too. So I don't say that to scare you. I say that to give you a realistic view of all the potential outcomes that could happen. There's a lot of things working that you can't feel, like central nervous system, things like that are just sort of going through the motions.
Yeah, and look, I was lucky. Obviously, last year I had Matt to help me with both races, but I did a PB at Sydney after running a PB at Gold Coast. So, I mean, it is possible. It is something you can
Joshua,
do.
We also went in with a very, I know you sort of threw the plan out the window in Gold Coast, but we went in with a very structured plan in terms of we put so much fitness into you prior to Gold Coast because we knew that 8 weeks was just going to be like, we don't really know what's going to happen. Like, you did not go back to like solid training. You were just sort of like, we dragged you through to Sydney.
And that's what I mean. Like, I had you, Matt, to help me with that. So, I mean, if you had a coach or whatever and you had the proper plan and everything to do it, it is possible to do it, but it's just really hard. You agree?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I feel like you just need. If this was not the plan from the get, it's pretty hard to pull it off. It's not impossible, but it's like the odds are not in your favor. Okay,
I get what you mean. That's fair enough. It's a touchy subject between us.
It's just like, also I have athletes every year who do the double, and then they think they're going to run their PB in Gold Coast and then run even better in Sydney. I'm like, you got two options: run hard in Gold Coast, enjoy Sydney, or Gold Coast is a zone 2 run and we send Sydney. Like, they're your options. You cannot do like, it's hard to do both.
Yeah, and obviously this listener didn't plan for it because they said they missed out on their goal. So sorry to hear, but it's okay. There's always other races. Mm-hmm. But that does also jump into Mads's question. It says, how many marathons is the ideal amount in a 12-month period for a beginner?
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Georgia?
One.
Yeah. I would say, like, we probably need to put a little bit of context to it. It's like, is your goal, like, how many can you run, or how many can you run well? Right? Like, peaking for a marathon, 1. Like, for your first for your first year or your first 12 months of running, like, we're really focused on one key race, and it's the hardest chances, unless you are coming from another sport, like you're a triathlete and you're like, I'm just going to run my first marathon, or, you know, outside of external circumstances like that. If you were just like, I know Mads has just gone, I'm going to start training for a marathon, and that's her entry into endurance sports. So it's 1. You could probably run 2 or 3 with the goal of 2 of them being just training, like easy training runs, go for the vibes, the experience. I'd still say that's a huge ask in your first year. Like, I would definitely encourage to keep it at 2 at the absolute most. I think if you want to race, half marathons are so great. Like, if you're a marathon runner, you run a half marathon basically every week for 10 weeks, 12 weeks as part of your prep. Sometimes even during the week, you might run multiple. So you can just rip half marathons whenever you want once you've run a marathon. So I would say if your goal is just you want to go out and run races and be a part of the vibes, do the halves, rip some halves, and then jump into a full whenever. Like, plan a full, give yourself 6, 8, 9 months, and then build into it.
Yeah, look, as an experienced beginner runner.
Yeah, that's a great definition.
I quite like that one. Yeah, look, I would say my first year I did 1, and that was it. I was like, I'm never doing this again. And then the second year I did the 2, and I was like, okay, that was really hard, and they were close together. This year I did London April, and then I've got Sydney August. Now, I think that is a good amount of time if you're wanting to do 2 far apart, 2 in 1 year. That is achievable. Again though, like Gold Coast. London was just fun for me. It was just an easy run. There was no goal. There was no anything. So I think that's definitely how you have to do it. You have to just choose 1 as your A race and 1 as your B race and stick to that. Yep,
100%.
Yeah, it is tough, guys. Like, and I mean, especially like Mads, females, we have to also be careful of, how we work as well, and just make sure you're tracking, your cycle, and making sure, you're not losing that, and you're keeping an eye on your iron levels and things like that. Like, go and see your doctor and stuff, because it does play a really big toll on your body. And just, I know a lot of people online are like smashing out all these amazing goals and like, I'm going to do like 5 marathons, and I'm going to do this and all these crazy things. It is okay just to not do everything all at once. We've got so much time. So yeah,
Yeah,
just
and it's a little sneak peek. We're going to do next week. We're doing an episode about like off season and post race blues and that sort of thing. Chances are after your first marathon, you will go through it's different for everyone, but a month, maybe 6 weeks where you just don't even want to train. Like everything has come to this crescendo of the marathon and then it's gone. You might feel a bit lost. Like the chances of you bouncing straight back in and going, cool, when's the next marathon I'm going to start training is very, very low. Like unless you've already got something planned or something in the book. So you could lose 2 months of training just there. So
yeah, look,
it's
I'm
tough.
not joking when I say like the marathon will leave you feeling a little bit traumatized. I'm not even joking. It's a lot, especially as a beginner. So just do what Matt's done and just take some time to eat custard vanilla slices and just chill out for a bit.
Custard squares. Shout out our New Zealand listeners.
Oh, how funny. Okay, cool. So Ashley has asked me, she's asked, what's my Sydney Marathon race plan? Am I sticking to the 4-hour pacer and trying to beat them by 1 second? No.
No.
We spoke about this in our pacing episode and also last week. No, that is not my strategy. I will not be following a pacer.
Was she asking your one?
Sorry?
Is she asking your strategy?
Yeah.
Oh,
she
okay.
said, like she's specifically, for Sydney Marathon is specific race plan or just stick to the 4-hour pacer and beat them by a second. Because she's asking whether or not I'm going to do that for my sub 4. No. I did have someone ask me during the week, did I want a pacer? And I assume this person was asking because they were offering to pace me. And I was just very much like, I need to do this for myself I've tried the pacing plan. It didn't work for me. So no, I will not be following a pacer and trying to just beat them. I will just be doing my own thing. And that's why
Strong start to finish. That's what we're doing, baby.
Yep, that's it. And so that is why I'm doing a lot of my long runs lately on my own, because I'm going to be on my own for the race. So again, nothing new. I'm not going to like do all of my long runs with a group of people and then get to race day and be like, what the fuck? I've got to run alone for 4 hours. So yeah, do that. don't, I guess, well, for me, I'm not going to follow a pacer. I just have a bit of a funny thing about that now. So I got to do it on my own. Yeah?
Yeah, that was your question, not mine.
I know. Sorry, you can't help with that one.
We did a whole episode on it last week or the week before.
Okay, cool. Ed has asked, how many times should we wear our race day shoes beforehand?
What do you think, Georgia?
So this person actually asked me this question in my DMs, and they said what sparked the conversation was that at Gold Coast they saw a lot of people running either like the last couple of kilometers no shoes or just like dumping their shoes or right at the end whipping them straight off, having like bloody toes, all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
nothing new on race day.
Yeah. I actually saw this photo the other day that a sports photographer had taken of someone with alpha flies and like blood all over the toes, and I'm like, it's always the alpha flies with the bloody toes. Anyway.
It's amazing how many people buy shoes at the expo and things like that and then
oh my God.
It's just like, it shocked me. I was speaking to a couple of guys at the Ironman one, like, mate, we sell so many for people. They're like, hey, you probably shouldn't wear these tomorrow or on Sunday. And they're just like, nah, it'll be sweet. And then they're buckled.
I cannot even imagine. I cannot imagine. This also depends on whether you're wearing carbon plated shoes or regular shoes. I think
it's more carbons.
That's what I was going to say, because I mean regular shoes I don't advise. If you just have a pair of daily
trainers and you've done all your training in them, then you're sweet.
Yeah, but like as in if you're going to pick them up 2 weeks before the expo, before the marathon, I mean, worst case, like if something happened to your shoes and you needed to get a pair, like a regular pair of shoes, not horrendous, but a carbon plated pair of shoes, I would definitely be doing a couple of your key long runs in them beforehand, like at least 2 or 3, right?
Yeah, I'd say, I think I wear mine probably 4 to 6.
Okay. Oh shit, I should start wearing mine then.
No, they don't all have to be for long runs. You just want to be, it's the intensity that's really important. So, like tempo sessions, wearing them in tempo sessions, because tempo is marathon pace.
Yeah.
You'd obviously do want to wear them for a couple of 30+ kilometer runs for sure, but you do not
Yeah.
have to wear them for, like I said, 4 to 6. You don't have to wear them from 6 weeks out. You could wear them for like
Oh,
2 or 3 key long runs, just so you know, like, hey, this feels, this is how the shoes feel at 30k, 35k,
yeah.
38k, and then you want to know how they feel at speed. So
Yeah.
those tempo sessions. So like I actually think the tempo sessions are more beneficial because you're not as tired and you're sort of more in tune with what's going on in your body and how everything feels. So if a shoe doesn't feel comfortable during a tempo session, or it's not coming to you in the shoe, chances are like it's probably not the right shoe for you. Like
Yeah.
if you go back on my Instagram, I did the testing where I tested 3 or 4 different pairs of super shoes. They were just 1K repeats, and like I got so much information. It was like 10 by 1K repeats, and I knew straight away like 2 of the shoes were out within 1K, and that was
Yeah.
just So like you get a pretty good idea just from those smaller efforts too, but at least half a dozen times.
Yeah, I think so. I think because a lot of, race day shoes, they don't have the same kind of stability,
Mm-hmm.
all those things. And I mean, I think the long runs are quite key, at least a couple of the really long runs, like your 32, your 36 and stuff, because I've got shoes that I can wear for a half marathon easy. Like I've done that. I've put a pair of shoes on to run a half marathon, fine. Doesn't even matter. It's that past the 30K that you really feel the shoes. So you need to know them.
That's just
like,
also
back
when
to hand.
everything's getting tired. Like if, for example, the shoe, especially carbon plated shoes, they want you to land a certain way, they want your foot to land a certain way. You can kind of bullshit your way through that for it being fit just to like 25, 28, 30Ks. After that 30K mark, that's where like real conditioning and stuff is on show. So all those little muscles start to fatigue, everything just starts to hurt a little bit more. You can't hold the shapes, your cadence starts to slow down, your stride length starts to change, your foot placement starts to change, and then all of a sudden things start to hurt. So
Yeah.
definitely wearing those shoes for 2 to 3 30+ K runs plus 2 to 3 really, really good tempo sessions. You'll be right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, gosh, I don't even know what shoes I'm wearing for Sydney yet. I actually really should check that. It'll be something. It'll be right. It'll be something that I'm
It'll be
used
something.
to.
Yeah, no worries, Georgia, mate. You're not rocking up barefoot. Jesus Christ.
I have to ask my sponsor. I'll be like, what shoes are you giving
Oh my
me?
God,
I need to
my
know.
sponsor. I'm such a big deal. I talk on panels and I get free shoes and
Yeah, that's it. I'm a big deal, guys. Just little old me. No, I don't mean to say that in a like wanky
I know,
way.
I'm just fucking with you.
I know you are, but I'm like, oh God. Okay, cool. The last question is probably a little bit more in depth, but whatever, we got time. I know we've answered this question before, but I'm going to bring it up again. So Audrey has asked, how do you deal with shin splints? Which is a very common question we get.
Yeah, never had a shin splint.
Yeah, I know neither. I mean, touching all the wood right now. But yeah, I've never had them. I couldn't tell you what episode we answered this in, but what, Matt, best way to deal? I've got no idea.
I'm just a big fan of strength training for it. So like tibula. So the tibula is the muscle that runs down the front of your shin bone. I'm trying to condition that as much as possible. So if people listening right now, if you put your legs straight out and pull your toes back to like as far as you can, you'll feel that muscle on the front of your leg flex. That's what we're trying to condition.
Yeah.
So a few different ways you can do it. You can put a resistance band around it and tie the resistance band to the dining table or whatever, and you can just pull your foot back and forth and do that 8 or 10 times. You can put a kettlebell in it and you can flex it back and forth if you're a bit stronger. Kettlebell marches, where you're keeping your foot locked in an upright position and sort of bringing your knee as high as you can. They're just some like really, really fundamentals. But also, chances are, if you're getting shin splints, I'd also have a look at your volume/intensity. Normally that comes from when you've just sort of jumped into the deep end and you've pushed a little bit too hard, from where you've either gone from 0 to quite hard or quite intense or you've gone from like moderate to very, very hard very, very quickly. So maybe have a look at a couple of those metrics as well.
Yeah, and from what I've heard, like it is a little bit hard to deal with. It does take a bit of time. I do those tube exercises at the gym all the time. Super helpful. I do not miss them. That's one exercise I make sure I do every single time. Yeah, the kettlebell marches is a really good one because you feel it completely up your shin. So when you're feeling it, means you're working it. So yeah,
100%.
that's a good one. Yeah, and another one is a lot of the time people who get shin splints, it's usually beginner runners because they've increased their load, like you said. So yeah, I guess I don't know, can you foam roll that? I don't know, what it's like a way you can actually, once you've got it, like what do you do?
From what again, never had them, so never really tested it. Mine's more sort of just anecdotal. I think it's just a let them recover kind of thing. I don't think you can foam roll them out, or like maybe you could like use like Normatec boots or something and sort of compression them out, maybe. But I don't really think like I'm literally just thinking off the top of my head. I don't think that would work. I think it is just it's a rice situation, mate.
Yeah, yep, definitely. Getting that rest, ice, compression, elevation. I'm like, how do you spell rice?
How do you spell rice? God damn it, Georgia.
Oh, dear. Who put me in front of the microphone?
God damn it, Georgia.
Oh, end of the episode. I'm getting the sillies.
That's it, yeah.
Oh, well, that's all our questions for today. I hope everyone got the answers they were looking for. And if you didn't, well, either come to our DMs or I'm sorry.
Yeah, you should have asked the right question.
Yeah. Any other things you want to add there, Matt?
No, mate, I'm feeling good. I think that's a good spot to leave it.
Oh, good. As always, guys, make sure you jump over to Instagram and follow us at beyondthefinishline_pod. Same goes with YouTube. And jump over to Spotify and make sure you're downloading, liking, do all the things so that our episodes land on your homepage every time they go live on a Wednesday. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
Hooroo.
Bye.